And we are live. Gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Mecca of Banter podcast. It's your boy Hen. I am this week's host. And gentlemen, this is season 3, episode 33. So there's got to be some good omens today on today's episode. They say that the hardest part of making a podcast is consistency. And here we are on our 3rd season, just reaching... has to be over 100 episodes now. I mean, that's crazy. And shout out to the boys for making that happen. But alas, we have a fantastic episode for everyone. So again, it's Henry Wine. You can find me on Twitter at Henry Wine. It's a great week. It's a great week to be a Manchester United fan. Got Kobe Mainoo in the England squad making his full debut. We got Rashi making some minutes, and just happy to be here. Harry Maguire making some minutes. A little suspect in his England playing this weekend, but whatever, we'll dive into that. But let's check in with the fellas. Andy Hoover, a constant staple of this podcast. Hey, how are you doing, man?
Everyone's kind of job has been divvied up on this podcast as to what they bring to the table, and mine's just being the personality. I'll just be the guy that's there that likes to say stuff. So, doing great. Undefeated still in the MLS season. Tottenham didn't have a chance to ruin my weekend, so and surprisingly the United States men's national team didn't either. Close, almost. They almost did. But they didn't. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Happy to rip here.
Connor Sindobri, welcome back, my friend. How are you doing this week?
What's going on, fellas? It's good to see you. It's your boy Dobes. It's good to be back. I can't lie, fellas. I was a little bit lost on Saturday and Sunday morning this week. I was up early at 6:25. Nothing was going on. But I was like walking around the house at like 9:30. Madison's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do in the morning. Luckily, there were some good games on, and City played, and then we had the U.S. last night. Happy to be here. Good to be back, fellas.
I hit actual boredom this weekend, which I haven't been bored in years. I tried really hard not to just like be on social media and like scrolling, like doom scrolling on my phone. I just like allowed myself to lay there, listen to the birds chirping, and just like not do anything. And it was a weird feeling. I felt the exact same way. But we got to dive right into St. Louis City. There's no better place for us to start. Hoove, you mentioned it. We're undefeated in the MLS season, which crazily enough, being undefeated has us in 7th place in our conference at the time of recording. It was a 2-2 tie against DC United. Hoove, you were there with Monica. Dobes, you weren't there, but you got the chance to see some stuff on social media. Give me the initial response post-game, Hoover. Like, I mean, it's 48 hours later now, but what's true for you after this game?
That was the worst 90 minutes of soccer I've ever watched in my entire life. I mean, ever. I've seen more continuity at the Lafayette women's girls team on, a Saturday afternoon. The refs had a better handle of those girls than this ref had of anybody on the pitch.
It was insane.
First thought, pissed. We don't win that one. DC had 5 players on the bench, billion injuries, couple guys out on international duty, and we should have absolutely taken it to them. We didn't. We are set piece FC as far as I can tell. And, pump and dump ball is back. It's not just at your local CYC tournaments anymore, lads. It is in the MLS, and we are watching it at City Park. We are watching pump and dump football. So, I'm not happy. Like, without trying to tear everything down here, and we'll look at the positives and stuff. I'm not happy with DC. First off, they did what they had to do given the circumstances. I don't know how they look at themselves in the mirror going home after this. It was
embarrassing.
Player on the floor after player on the floor after player on the floor after they were time wasting in the 25th minute. It was 1-1, and they were taking their sweet time to do everything. It was mind-boggling how committed to the bit they were. The refereeing was miserable. The refereeing's been miserable. Again, it was miserable this week. And I'm ready to start a GoFundMe for the MLS to just pay these damn refs, bro. What are we doing? How bad could it be? It's got to be better than this. We complained all year about refs last year, and now here I am with worse refs. What are we doing? How does that work? It's insane. The way that these guys had no handle on anything. Berkey commented after the game. He was yelling at the ref like, "What are you doing, man? Like, what are you doing?" And the ref apparently told him, he's like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" And he said, "You have 2 cards in your pocket. Use them.
Any of them. Yeah.
Use them." And to top all of that off, we didn't look good when the ball was in play. When the ball was in play for the 55 minutes that it was rolling in the grass, we had no plan. The plan is to bomb it deep. Like, as soon as Salio came on, shocker, he brought the game to DC. Oh my goodness. It's almost like we've been beating that this entire year. Klaus even said it in his post-match. He was like, we love Salio so much. He's really the only player on the team that can bring the attack the back line and attack players 1v1 and bring creativity into that final third. Why is he not playing? Why aren't we using him in that aspect? Like, there's guys saying it in their post-match that the best player on the field was a guy who played for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That blows my mind. And if it was a minutes, rotation thing, fine. That's the only explanation that I'm giving anybody as to why he didn't start the game. Like, I understand he's played almost 90 minutes for the entire beginning of the season, but there were a lot of other guys out there too that have been playing a lot. Like, don't give our studs these breaks. This is what takes away from form and takes away from continuity. I was pissed. My section was pissed. My girlfriend was pissed. She recognized that was some of the worst soccer that she's ever seen. That's when you know, lads. Like, you've got girlfriends like, why? She yelled at Stroud at one point. He was cramping up 5 different times right after half, and then he takes a knock to his other leg. She yelled at him. He was holding his other leg that he hadn't been stretching, and our whole section jumped on it. Like, what?
Losing it.
Losing it. I was so excited for him, and I was excited to cheer him on the pitch and cheer him off the pitch when it was all said and done. No. I said a thing or two that I shouldn't have said in the section at the stadium, and everyone else kind of agreed with me. It was not a happy homecoming for him or Bartlett. They both looked like full-blown tools. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, whatever. It was fine. We don't lose. They got away with the dark arts. It was a dark arts masterclass from DC, if you ask me. Yeah. Their keeper went down over and over and over, and then he'd get up and bomb the ball downfield. Miraculous. Yeah. Wild how that would happen. So I'm not pumped about it, and we keep coming back to the, like, is this who we are thing? Like, is this what the tactics are going to look like all year? We're still trying this Sam and Klaus experiment. It's not seeing that work. The only way Klaus scored a goal is because Salio got fouled in the box. Yep. Like, there are not many redeeming qualities here. I'm glad to escape with a point, but I'm tired of escaping a point at home.
That one, we got a point. It didn't feel like we escaped with a point. Like, I feel like some of the other points that we've grabbed in the season, the other 3 ties other than this one we've had this season, like, I feel like some of those we definitely, like, escaped with the point. LA Galaxy, perfect example. This one was just like, it was bad. I mean, both of the goals that we gave up were bad. Like, it was bad goals to give up. We, unfortunately on the first one, Berkey makes an unbelievable save, an absolutely unbelievable save. And Nilsson is just, like, not paying attention whatsoever and just lets his guy get a wide open header. If you're Berkey there, you have to just be beyond yourself frustrated, because, like, what else are you supposed to do?
He was hung out to dry on both.
And then the second one is like a calamity of errors. I mean, it's like elementary school, maybe middle school maybe high school level passing progressions where one person checks in, you play it in, you dink it out wide to Stroud, who plays it one time across. It was literally a passing pattern that got executed perfectly because our center back and our left back don't talk to one another like on that play, and we just give up everything. Like, I mean, it was horrendous. Equally so when, like you said, whenever the ball was in play for the 55 minutes that it was or whatever, unfortunately with the nature of the game, and also I think both teams were trying to prove a point with one another. Like, you could see Bartlett and Klaus going at it the entire game. Fuck Lucas Bartlett, by the way. He's such a little bitch. No love for that guy. None. And I think, like, what was interesting, at least in the supporter section where I was, it was really fascinating because you're right around all the, season ticket holders, the supporters, and Stroud and Bartlett are like warming up in front of us just because that's the nature of, the game. And everyone around me is talking about like Stroud this, Stroud that, like, good to see him, like, welcome back. Not a single word about Bartlett, not a single word from anyone around. And you see it during the game of like, he's definitely flying into tackles. Klaus fucking bodied him on that one tackle in the first half, like just trying to prove a point. And unfortunately the game resulted to just like throwing tackles. Like, I mean, the 55 minutes that the ball was in play, it was just tackle after tackle after tackle after tackle. And you even saw Blom make an appearance at the end of the game, and like, he had a couple passes, but really he was just there tackling people. Like, it was just, Durkin was playing, bigger than he was because he wanted to go into tackles. He wanted to prove a point against DC. It was really horrendous. But the lack of game plan, it's so apparent. It's so apparent. And I don't even mind, like, especially in the first half, there was a couple of really good, in my opinion, a couple of really good progressions where Dewar took the ball on the left, played like kind of like a straight ball into a diagonal running Sam. And that worked 2 or 3 times. We got corner kicks out of it. Like, it was great. But that happened like 2 or 3 times at the beginning of the game. We didn't revisit that tactic the rest of the game. Like, it was just really odd. And to your point of set piece FC, it feels like that's kind of what we're playing for at the moment. And you leave us wondering, and I don't know, maybe it's fair, maybe it's not. Some of the discourse that's on Twitter right now is like, people are like, well, wait till Leuven gets back and he'll control the game. And you're like, will he? Like, I don't know. It's tough to see. Celio was a good call of the game changed when he came onto the field, but I thought the subs were odd, man. You took out Vasilev like 60 minutes into the game, and for a team that's set piece FC, you took off the only set piece taker on the field, and then you're resulting on AZ to hit set pieces, which he's never going to do that. And
he didn't beat the first man once on any of his.
No. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I would say from the positives, redeeming side of the game, I thought Dewar did well, especially in that first half. Like, minus the goal where he kind of was ball watching in the goal, but I do think that offensively he did well. Did he do any better than Markanich? No. I thought Markanich was great when he came in. He made some really good defensive plays, but depth at the left back position, cool. And I thought Alm looked pretty solid when he came on the field. He was fast, he was quick, he was kind of showing those signs of Alm of last year. But other than that, you're like, I don't know what else there really is to talk about other than Celio making it a change and Berkey having that big save. I mean, I guess we could give flowers. I thought Yarrow handled Benteke very well. Benteke was targeted for every single outlet ball from the keeper, from a free kick. And also, like, I don't know Grieshaber was an incredible talent at the forward line, like when we played with him at Marquette. But I've never in my life played with a hold-up striker that is like the number one target on every single free kick, goal kick, throw in, everything. Like, Benteke is a freak.
And he could do it. And he did.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
When he lined up, dude, in the first half, I genuinely I couldn't comprehend how big he was.
Yeah.
Bro, he is massive.
Yeah, big
and
boy.
he's still got pace, and he's still like technical. He impressed me. And I mean, obviously, like he's got to be one of the better players, and you knew coming in that's who you're gonna face, and that's what you have to deal with. But like he was really really good.
Yeah.
So I agree. Josh did well under the circumstances. I thought maybe there could be a little bit better decision making on the second goal, but I'm not ready to hang blame on him for that. And he got a goal. He got his goal first in MLS. Like I was cheesing ear to ear. I was so excited for the guy. He looked so excited.
Yeah.
Like he looked like he had no idea what just happened. I was so pumped for him. And I did make the mention to my friends when we saw him walk out that he got a fresh fade. And I told everyone, I was like, hey, we're on fresh fade Josh watch right now.
Yeah, we are.
He's going to do something today. So
unfortunately, we were still celebrating his goal when they put in the tying goal.
I didn't even see it.
The announcer was literally still being like, city goal scored by number 15, Josh Yaro, and the ball's in the back of the net. And you're like, God
I didn't even see it. I was literally pulling out my phone to text you guys like, Josh! I was so excited. And then I look up and they scored, and I was like, was it off? Like, what? And everyone's like, nope. Nope, they just did that. Yeah.
So I guess my question in where we are now, we're undefeated still. We're sitting in 7th place. It's also kind of crazy. I know that it's early in the season, but like what separates 1 from 7th is like 4 points. It's not like it's like a crazy. Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. So we play Real Salt Lake at the weekend on Saturday night there. We played them once already this season. It was a 1-1 tie. And if you remember, that was one of the games that we were like, hey, we definitely snatched a point from this one because Real Salt Lake's a good team.
Good.
And
yeah.
We were managing expectations. Now what? Like, what happens as we like look ahead for this game? Is there like anything that you really expect to change? Is there something that needs to change? Is there any I don't want to sound like overly morbid because I was about to ask, like, is there any hope going into this game? But that's the wrong phrasing. But like, is there any like hope? Is there any redeeming thoughts before we head into Saturday's game?
I'll toss my 2 cents in about, obviously I didn't watch the game against DC United, but it's like us guys, sort of people that like soccer or watch soccer, like before the game when you support a team, it's like the hour and a half before the game, we like feel like it's like Jose Mourinho texting Pep Guardiola, who's also in a group message with like Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah.
We're like, this is what we think the 11 should be. This is what it is. And then when it comes out that it's Klaus and Adeniran, it like the excitement almost instantly just will continuously go down for me. And I think that kind of leads into the weekend because we've heard set piece FC 3 times so far just since I've been on this. And when you play 2 strikers, that typically works out in a situation where you're down a goal with 10 minutes left and you know that you're going to have a ton of set pieces. You're going to have the ball because you're going for it. And it kind of seems like that is the attitude that we're taking from the start, only we're just expecting something randomly to happen or a set piece to happen, in which that case, Adeniran and Klaus are 2 great guys to have on the field. But other than that, we still have not seen any sort of patterns of play or them work together with any cohesion yet. And so to me, it's like very tough to almost expect the best out of them. And I've said this so many times about so many players with City. It's almost tough to expect the best out of them when you kind of know that they're not exactly set up, either one of them, when they play together for success. Like Sam is, I think, played his best when he's been by himself. Mm-hmm. And I think Klaus last year, when we did see him sort of his best period last season, he was by himself.
Yeah.
And right now, we get that lineup and all of us are texting and you see those 2 up front. It's kind of like whether it be United or Tottenham, whatever it is, it's like instantly you're like, you have that worry. It's like, all right, here we go again. Like, why are we doing this? Mm-hmm. I think to me, like in terms of lineup, like it has to change. Like we've seen it. How many times we need to see this in games that we're tying at home when you play those 2 up top, but there's no cohesion. Not only just that, but then the whole team kind of suffers because it's tough to play with 2 strikers who kind of like to do the same thing. One's a little more athletic than the other, but they're used to making the same sort of runs and they're having to learn to play off each other. And that directly affects the buildup from the 2 in the middle, from the back 4. Like it directly affects everything. And so I think until you sort of figure out that front pairing, it's tough to pair what you play behind that. Because I think when you do play one of them, Lewin makes a ton of sense. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, when Klaus is dropping deep, he takes up that space. So I think you got to figure out those 2 up front and then sort of build around them because right now it seems like we're just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks and hoping one of them can find form versus putting them in the best situation to win.
Yep.
And it's not worked once. There's not
I
been...
mean, like, we haven't even seen a glimpse of it yet.
There's not been a glorifying example of like, oh, okay, like here's what the ideal situation with Zhao and Sam looks like. We haven't seen that. And what concerns me even more is that Sam Adeniran's on public record of saying, like, I love playing with Zhao. Like, I love playing with him playing right underneath me, and we get to make those runs, and he does a lot of the ball movement. From where? Like, where did you enjoy this? Where did you have great success playing with him on the same field? And I think there's a percentage chance that that's a cop-out, and just the fact of, look, I know how good of a striker he is, but I also want to be on the field, so I understand them trying to play him. I get that. I just want width, dude.
Yeah.
And we said this last year. This isn't something new. And there's certain instances where being narrow works, but without Lewin, without Salio, like, and taking Indy off early, we're literally taking some of the only players that can get in and out of tight situations. So I want the ball to go to Salio on the wing, and then him combine with Klaus and get him behind, or find a diagonal ball to Alm. I don't know. Like, I'm not doom and gloom, because we're coming away with points. We're fighting back for goals and stuff. But like, I'm not afraid of losing. I just don't. Every win, it feels like it's going to be just a freaking grind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is, and it's all falling down to PKs or corners or, bring them in the 80th, like you said. Like, one of those two guys is great off the bench, and I thought, same thing with Alm. I'm really looking forward to seeing Alm start, because I think when we do play with a little width, ideally, him and Salio are on the wings, and from what we saw up until he got hurt last year, he has that up. He has the ability to create in the final third. We don't have a ton of guys right now that can create in the final third. So what's your option? Dump the ball. Hope Sam gets in behind, blocks off a guy. Like, there's nothing going into Klaus and him turning and finding another pass, and then there's an outlet. It's like, ball from Dyer, corner, good luck. Get on your horse. I want to see something comprehensive. Like,
my hunch, and this is the way that I think about it, is my hunch makes me, and I don't want to like say this just because it's a guarantee, but my hunch is that Cornell doesn't know which one of them to play by themselves.
I think so.
Because I think that Klaus is supposed to be that guy, was that guy to start the season last year, thinks that Klaus is one of the best 11 players that we have at the club, which he 100% is. Big Sam is sort of, through scoring goals and also just sort of the different element he brings, has very well, there's an argument there for him to be the 9. And it seems like Cornell's trying to please both, and at the same time, he's hurting both of them.
Yep.
It's kind of like, I think, Hoof, you made a great point that if you play them both, we don't have an impact to 9. We don't have an impact striker to bring on. You're bringing Thor on, or somebody to put up there that doesn't actually belong to play up there. And we lose that impact in the 80th minute, where it's like, maybe it is a 1-1 game, a 2-2 game. Let's bring on a Sam Adeniran to go with these two center backs who have been dogged by João Klaus for 85 minutes. Like, that has some warrant to it. But I do kind of think that's what he is. He's just scared to not play one of them, because they both probably deserve to play a little bit.
That's what I would like to see. I would like to see Klaus start, let him wear down the defense, and if he can make something happen in 75 minutes, great. 70 minutes, and if he can't, you bring Sam on, and Sam's like that impact sub. There's nothing wrong with that. You're still getting your goals, you're still doing all of that stuff. I don't know if, even if it's the other way around, I just think that Klaus is the guy to build around, and Sam's the guy to come off the bench. And that's just my thought.
Even if it's not working, you can make that change at halftime.
Yeah, totally.
They're two completely different players that can flip the game away played. Sam's obviously so much more behind. Klaus and hold up play. If one's not working, you have that option. He just has to have the cojones to do it.
And we've seen Sam not have an impact on the game as the only striker.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes the games aren't for him. Sometimes that's not his, whoever's was setting up. It was against Austin that he came out and was pissed in the 57th minute, which understandably so. I love seeing that passion. You want a guy that wants to fight for his position, but on a team that's going to be a low block defensive, we're going to have a hard time finding runs in behind. Like, that just is what it is. Who can unlock defenses a little bit better with his feet? my man
yeah.
Klaus. So
Yeah.
it's not that neither of them. You're right. They both deserve to start. I think Carnell's afraid of it, but I would rather the team do better and look better. Like let's think team first here, and then maybe in 6 months when Molde comes back for another bid for Sam, maybe we let Sam go. Like I'm not ready to chop guys on the block.
He's got to make a tough decision. Is what he needs to do.
Yeah, 100%. Guys aren't on the chopping block, but this is football, bro. This is how it goes. This is you fight for your position, and if you don't see the outcome on the field, then you have your position taken from you. That there's no room for feelings right now. I want to see points on the board.
Yep, I agree.
I think that's a great thing to say. And, you bring up a point of, there's no room for feelings. And if you're not performing, you don't get the spot, which is honestly a perfect transition to an organization that there are feelings involved. And if you're not performing, you get to keep your spot. And that is the U.S. men's national team, and specifically Gregg Berhalter. We had 2 massive games in the CONCACAF Nations League. Did you forget that was going on this international break? Because I sure did. We played Jamaica and then we played Mexico. Jamaica game, we had a 3-1 win in extra time and then a 2-0 classic against Mexico. Hoove, I want to get your thoughts initially on this Jamaica game. What's the status of the U.S. men's national team and how are you feeling at this current moment?
It was... Dude, I hate being on this podcast and just being the guy that's like, burn it down. But it was a miserable watch.
I love a good rant. Let it fly.
Yeah, come on now.
It was a miserable watch. Jamaica in itself was a miserable watch. And I saw a little bit of a 180 for Mexico, to be totally fair. Start that out. Jamaica was a tough watch. We had 83% possession. We got a goal scored on us in the 34th minute. And to be honest, I didn't even bat an eye. I was like, okay, that was a pretty good throw-in routine. Guy swings around the back. Joe Scally, there's a lot of discourse online whether you should pick that guy up or not. I think there's a central midfielder missing from the box from where he gets
our
scored
resident
on
wingback expert.
You can't track 2 guys, and one of them is at the top of the 18 when the guy picks it up to start to chip the cross. So I'm not ready to hang it on him, but I was just like, okay, that sucks. You guys got to pick your head up quick here and let's roll. But I had no doubt that we would continue moving. We couldn't break down a low block. That's really what it came down to. There was no plan and incisiveness. If you're going to break down a low block, you'd think you want a twinkle toes type midfielder like Gio Reyna. Whoa, insane. Now, I will say, I'm not angry at the decision to play Malik Tillman. A lot of people were pissed about it. Malik's been really good recently.
He's been balling.
Playing in form.
He had good moments too the other night against Jamaica.
Definitely. Some mental errors. I thought that he should have converted for sure. One. I wasn't mad about that pick. But Gio Reyna's built to pick locks. Like, there's a lot more speed and pace, I think, with Malik Tillman and his ability to find and engage other players. But he's not making these passes into the final third like Gio is, which we saw because we scored 2 in extra time after, the luckiest own goal I've ever seen in my entire life. Guy heads it missile straight back into his own net. Loved that, I guess. It was super frustrating just to watch the talent that we have go up against like a Jamaican C team no Leon Bailey, no Doucouré, no Antonio. Like we just should have swept them to the side. And all of this is topped by the fact that I hammered the over in this game because of the firepower we had on the pitch. So disappointing, but like it's just decision making from Gregg that is frustrating, and it are we really think this guy's taking us to the Copa America? We really think this guy's the right guy for the World Cup? I don't. But then, like, dude, the players come out and they all love him. They all talk about how great he is, and it's just we're really proud of what he's doing for the development of this team. It's like, Okay, then pummel the shitty teams that you play in CONCACAF. Like, it shouldn't be that difficult. Line up, be able to break down a low block. I'm not going to sit here and talk tactics, but you guys should probably have a plan. Jamaica executed theirs perfectly. That own goal is the only reason that we got out of that game at all. There was nothing else. We had no redeeming qualities. The plans are loose. We play better against better teams, I think, because we play the low block and we have great opportunity to spring good counterattacks. So, what else do you say about it? Like, I stopped watching. I went to Mexican with my friends. They had it on the TV at the Mexican restaurant. Shout out La Katrina Goats.
Shout out.
And I saw the ball go in the net on the own goal, and I was almost mad. Like, I almost didn't want it to go in. I almost wanted to lose, and I wanted questions just to be asked of Berhalter.
That's how I felt. Yeah.
You, Henry, you tweeted it on our account, but his job was never on the line. That wouldn't have lost him his job by any means.
No, and I think that's what's frustrating. Where like it's a tale of two games between Jamaica and Mexico. And you alluded to it of like a 180 where against Mexico, we actually looked decent. Like we actually put some stuff together. We looked like we were up for it. It was a great game, but the nervousness is that we're not pummeling these CONCACAF teams. We're allegedly the number 1 ranked CONCACAF team in the world. And we could lose to anyone. But like you don't say the same thing about Brazil. You don't say the same thing about Argentina. Like, that's what's so scary. But yeah, Berhalter, USA, the US soccer organization made a statement when they hired him, despite all of the reasons not to. And like, there was all this stuff going on off the pitch with Gio Reyna and the Reynas, and then also like the old stuff coming up from when he was in college, all of that stuff.
I don't like any of that, to be honest.
Of course.
His business was shitty, but the Reynas getting involved, that's fuck that.
Yeah, so the thing is that you put all of that aside, and all of us after the World Cup were like, thank God Gregg's tenure is over, because he took us as far as he could possibly take us. Gold Cup, not a Copa America, but a CONCACAF Nations League. Sick. Like he took us as far as he possibly could. But even if he lost that Jamaica game, like US soccer would chalk it up to like, he's only been in charge for 3 games since coming back. And it's just, I hate the guy. Everything he does, man, it's so cringy to me.
He's like 1-7 and like 15 in his last games against top 25 opposition. Like that stat in itself, I don't care who you throw out on the pitch. I don't care what the game looked like. That stat in itself is extremely concerning because those are the teams you want to beat. And
it's
then
not like, hey, let's sign you an extension for a couple of years.
No, and we're still not pummeling these, CONCACAF teams where half these guys have day jobs. Yeah. Like, it's just not, there's nothing redeeming about it until he gets a 2-0 Dos a 0 win against Mexico in a competitive game, and now it's all, hugs and kisses.
I don't think that either of those games were going to change my opinion on. Like, my opinion on Berhalter has been made up for years, and it's kind of like I was looking it up because like it's kind of like Southgate. Like Southgate, they tied North Macedonia back in November, and like still going to be there. Like it's the same thing with Gregg. Like when we play Jamaica, I think the biggest thing is we just have to expect him to be there. I think the thing that sucks is I think why people are so mad about it and why we were 1 minute away from the entire United States men's soccer fan base calling for his head instead of it being a last minute winner and everybody being excited. A last minute equalizer. It's because we're afraid that he's going to waste this group of talent because I feel like we all feel like we have a squad that when put together and played right is dangerous. Players that are scoring and playing well in top teams all over the world, in every league in the world, it seems like. And it's the same thing kind of with England and Southgate. Like it's very comparable. Like we're afraid of wasting this talent that like us U.S. men's national teams have been waiting for since we had like one guy who was playing in the Prem. And we were like, oh my God, let's go, Dempsey. You scored a goal against Juventus.
Go.
So now all of a sudden we have these guys that are playing everywhere. So that's to me the the Nations League, it's cool to win. We've won it 3 times. It's kind of a made-up tournament. Great. Like, Mexico's not great. Jamaica's not great. Like, all these teams, we should win. He's got to do something in Copa America, because I think if we crash out of Copa America, then I think there's a likelihood that his job may be on the line. I don't want that to happen, but I feel like Copa America is kind of going to be a measuring stick right now for him. Like, are these players with him, and what can he do? Because we're playing the top teams in the world.
Yep.
And I don't think U.S. soccer has the time to waste, another cycle to waste. After Copa America, we're 2.5 years away from it being here. We don't have time to waste. That's what, if you really think about it, 5 or 6 windows
Yep.
of those guys together. So, like, the Copa America is what's going to mean more. But obviously, happy we beat Mexico. Looked fantastic last night. It doesn't change anything for me, in my opinion, on Gregg. I still don't think he's the guy that's going to get us to where we think he's going to go.
If we play like we played in the World Cup, and to be fair, it was semi-admirable. It was just scared and reserved. Like, I've said this metaphor about Gregg as long as I can remember him being coach. He's had the keys to this Ferrari for a long time, dude. He can't get it out of park. He can't get these guys to play the electric football that they know and that we know they can play. It's waste of talent and waste of time is the way to put it, and it's sad. Like, I want to do really well in Copa America. I think we could make a good run at it, but like, if we're gonna play these one-off games and play and sit back like we did against Iran and Wales, and like, those were nervous games that we should have just won. We should have just won them. This
question for you guys right now that I think is a bigger problem than we realize. Who are you starting at 9? Like, a game of the World Cup tomorrow, who are you starting? Because Balogun has not impressed me enough over the recent weeks to be like, he's the guy. Haji Wright, because he scored a goal for Coventry in the FA Cup, was like, all right, you're back to camp. Like,
I mean, if Sargent's healthy, I think you start him. I think that's what you do. But I think the fact of the matter is that it might be one of those situations like we just talked about with Sam and Klaus, where you just know that you are going to make a sub at that striker position, and depending on who the opposition is, that's who you bring on. So if it's someone that you need to combine and break down a low block, maybe it's Balogun. And even though he did not do that against Jamaica, maybe that's what you do. But if it's someone that you need to be a little bit more physical, maybe that's where it's Pepe or Haji Wright or Sargent. Or
Pepe's been low-key balling too. Like,
he has been balling for PSV. He's been great. But like, I think that's the thing where like the striker position just isn't figured out, and every other position is. And I just think that there is a world that you just know that you're making that substitution 60 minutes into the game, and is what it is. You know, you go with who you think is best against that exact opponent tomorrow, and that's what you do.
I would like to say I would love to see at some point, maybe, just Gregg, if you're listening, I would love to see Gio Reyna play with Balogun. Like, those guys were built for each other. Like, get him in the box, find him, make quick passes, 1-2s. Those guys are great on the ball. But you know, Gio Reyna's setting up Haji Wright. Also, it's got to be just as easy to set up.
That's his spot.
Somebody.
That's his spot.
You think so? You think that he locked that down?
That's his spot, bro. Him and Ream, I think. I mean, there might be some argument there, but I think that's who it should be.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, one of the biggest differences between the first game and the second game was like how calm, cool, and collected, you know, Ream was. I think that's what it was. He comes onto the pitch and just immediately is that guy. I just think that he's fantastic.
Yep, I agree.
We then have, well, actually, before we move on, just a moment for Tyler Adams.
Oh yeah, we have to. I can't believe we haven't mentioned him yet.
Just a moment for Tyler
Adams. I can't
Adams.
believe we haven't mentioned him yet, man.
After over a year of being out with not playing, I mean, he played like one game for Bournemouth, one half for Bournemouth or something, got injured again.
17 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, got injured again. How cool was that? I've never seen the guy shoot a ball, actually. I've never seen him shoot.
Did you see that the Bournemouth TikTok or video they made or whatever it was? It was 3 of them talking around. It was like, if you could teach Tyler to do one thing, what would it be? And his teammate answered like to score. And then
that's so funny.
And then it panned to the video. No, but I mean, he's that guy that, like, even when you saw it in his brief cameo in the Jamaica game, like, his passion's infectious. And like, no, I don't think that matters if he's playing for Bournemouth, the way he had the same thing at Leeds.
Yep.
The guy just has that like in him to where he plays bigger. He loves the moment. I kind of in agreement with you. I know I think he should be captain. I would 100% agree. He just has all those qualities. But just to come back and you know that it was going to take everything for him to not be able to play in that game, even if it was just 45 minutes, he's built for USA Mexico. Like that is Tyler Adams to a T. There was not really anything going on. You see him shoving guys, talking shit like that. That's Tyler Adams. And then not only for him to have that aspect, but to then step up and hit a 35-yard, and I mean, banger. It was just like instant smile on your face. You got to be happy for the guy. He's been struggling wanting to play football, and he comes back and does it for the national team against his biggest rival.
Yeah, I love it. I love that guy. I'm a huge Tyler Adams fan, and couldn't have been more excited for him. So we'll see. Hopefully that form transfers into Bournemouth and he's able to get some good minutes the back half of the season with Bournemouth. But speaking of our English friends, we both got the opportunity to watch Brazil-England. Not exactly the fireworks that I was maybe expecting with two of the world's top teams playing against each other midweek or over the weekend rather. We give so many parallels to Southgate and Berhalter, and you just mentioned it perfectly earlier, but Southgate just continues to, I don't even know if making the wrong decisions is the right thing to say, but he continues to set up his teams in ways that are just destined for failure, in my opinion. There's just hardly any redeeming qualities about the way that he sets things up. And I also want to say, and maybe this is a little bit biased of me because, you know, we're connected with Dan Ashworth and Manchester United is for that matter. And Dan Ashworth was massive on rebuilding the image of the English national team. They talked about that whole project where they changed the identity and the culture and the value system. And they've seen them win trophies at every level except for the senior team because of the identity. But Gareth Southgate has been the head coach during that entire time, but he hasn't won anything. He hasn't really proven anything at all. And when I'm looking at that team over the weekend, maybe barring Conor Gallagher, and maybe Anthony Gordon, who I also thought was great, by the way. Anthony Gordon was fantastic, I thought. Obviously, Kane's going to start over Watkins, but everywhere on the pitch, you're starting pretty much your starting 11, is what it is. And to come away with 0 goals, being shut out at Wembley for the first time in forever, it's not a good look, man.
I think like looking at that 11, and yes, we can sit there and we can talk about all of the England injuries and like who we put in there. Like obviously you're missing Luke Shaw and Harry Kane and like impact players. Like on paper, when you look at that midfield, like Conor Gallagher has arguably been Chelsea's best player this season. And, you know, and so that midfield of Rice, Bellingham, and Gallagher, like, all three of them have motors, you know what I mean? So like you think on paper that it should work, but like Gallagher he wasn't it in this game. And even when you look at sort of the subs and you look at, this isn't exactly like, it wasn't Brazil's 100% first team either, you know, like we're talking about this international stuff. And so it's just sort of the lack of game plan it looks like that England has. And, you know, that's historically been what it has been for England. It's been all of the talent in the entire world. We go back to the Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard not being able to play together days. But these guys like each other. These guys want to play together. So the only sort of commonality or the common piece there has to be Southgate. And I think, yes, it's the different personalities, different types of players. But like international coaches, what you need to be good at is being able to get enough out of a group of players on 2 weeks.
Yep.
Like that is your job. Like your only thing to do is sit there and think, all right, these are the guys I'm going to bring into camp. What is my ideas and how are they going to play? And it seems like they don't do any of that, which is literally his only job. It's like these guys have talent, but can the coach get them over the line to actually perform? And so I don't necessarily even blame, yes, some of the players didn't have like great performances, but I don't necessarily blame them. It's kind of the same thing. It's getting set up for failure. And when you play against the Brazil side who has the talent that they do, has the credibility they do, has the experience, it's like, if you're not up to your A stuff, you're not going to score and you're not going to win. Mm-hmm. Every given game they have to. That's kind of what we saw from England. It was just a lackluster performance and getting shut out at home. Is our standards are high for England now. So them losing 1-0 at home to a really good Brazil team, it's kind of where you know where England's standards are. But we're constantly been here. It's can Southgate get him over that hump?
And I'm curious. I just have to ask because, obviously now with Hoover's exit earlier on the podcast, this is an official, hey now, easy over there.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. This is an official United corner now.
Yep.
We're on, and fact of the matter is when the other boys don't show up to the pod, we're able to talk about whatever we want to talk about. Gareth Southgate's been linked with Manchester United.
It's international break news.
You just think that that's the story.
That's a story. If you do the math, none of it makes sense. Like from a business standpoint, from an overall club standpoint, from an overall football standpoint, none of it makes sense. We've heard Goldbridge sort of talk about this, or at least he talked about it on his episode. When you look at Chelsea, you look at Liverpool's the only one that's leaving, but you look at City, you look at Spurs, you look at Arsenal. All four of those teams, their managers are staying. They're simply doing nothing but reloading.
Yeah.
They're reloading. They're fixing their holes. If we go out and get a new manager, not only a new manager, a manager is going to be at the Euros till right before preseason starts. That takes anything out of the window of potentially trying to sign players, bring players in, get to know recruitment staff, all of that different stuff. To me, this is just the blowing smoke in the wind because of the Ashworth Southgate connection. There's no chance in the world this happens because one would be the dumbest thing. It would set us. We might as well ride off next season.
Yeah.
Because then Southgate's got to bring in his guys. This guy's got to bring in his guys. That's why I just don't think it makes any sense.
Manchester United's marquee signing would be Jordan Henderson from Ajax.
Yeah, we'll bring in Jordan Henderson and Calvin Phillips right behind him.
It'd be unbelievable. It'd be insane. Kobe Manu gets his debut for England. Short cameo. In my opinion, he shows his calm, cool, and collected spirit on the ball, but like nothing really to write home about. You think he gets the start next game?
I was actually just looking at it. There's rumors that he will. I mean, you can't really ask more of an 18-year-old in a debut against the Brazil team. I mean, 20 passes, completed every single pass that he had. The few different turns, his calmness on the ball, just his presence. I'm pretty sure he completed more passes than Gallagher did. I saw something like that. But that's just one of those where you don't want to put pressure on the guy, but he's a guy that seems resistant to pressure. Like he goes out there and, you would expect an 18-year-old at Wembley playing for his first time, playing against not North Macedonia, playing against Brazil. Like you'd think that you can give the guy a little bit of credit if he misplaces a pass. Nope, comes right on the field. 20 out of 20 passes, a few turns, dummied some guys, played well. You can't say enough. Obviously, as United fans, we're excited about him. I just don't want to put so much pressure that this kid is going to be the next guy. Obviously, we hope he is. He's 18 years old. His rise from Champions League debut to England call-up was like 5 months. So the pressure is going to be there regardless, but I'm just happy to be along for the ride. It's fun to watch a player like him be 18 years old with the world at his shoulders. Yeah. And not only that, but play for our club,
Yeah, and seem seemingly unbothered by it.
Unfazed.
You watch him in media duties and he's just like, whatever, it's great to see. Well, we'll look ahead to the weekend upcoming. International break, slow sports news, as Mark Goldbridge says, but we have an upcoming weekend. We have 2 fixtures that I want to talk about. Starting off with United Brentford on Saturday. It's a huge game to continue the form that we were in with the Liverpool game before the international break. Allegedly, Leach is back. We'll see if that's true. We are hoping to see some guys return from injury. Maguire might have picked up an injury with England, but there's no other result here than 3 points. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of like the international break didn't hit us at the perfect moment because obviously we had the momentum coming off of Liverpool, but at the same time, this 2 weeks is crucial. It's like Mason Mount, 2 weeks in the tank, should be fully fit. We've seen Licha training with Argentina. Came back early to be training with United for this whole week. Should be fully fit. Same thing with Rasmus Højlund. We probably agree that he probably shouldn't have necessarily started right when he came back, but we had to. He's got another sort of 2 weeks of training and gas in the tank. So we're starting to get healthy and get these guys back that are so key to the way we're playing. We kind of really don't know about Casemiro. He's kind of the only worrying mark, but 100% 3 points is expected here. Not only that, but building off of Liverpool, like we have some real momentum going into this sort of like latter half of the season, especially with guys getting back that are crucial. Like Licha is massive into the way that we play. I expect 3 points, and I expect to see a little bit of an improved performance, hopefully. I expect to see us hopefully be able to keep the ball. Kobe Manu is going to do his thing. I like to see him play with Licha there as well. I'm super interested to see how he fits in with Mount. I think him, Mount, and Bruno can be a good 3 if needed. So it's kind of exciting times. I know we're sitting sort of where we are on the table, but I think we still have a shit ton to play for, man.
Yeah, I think we do too. And if preseason was anything to base the season off of, Licha and Manu were unreal together in preseason before Manu got hurt. And obviously it's just preseason, so it's all conjecture. But the big game this weekend, potentially season-defining game, is City Arsenal. It's a huge game every year. Last year was the game that saw Arsenal, lose grips of the title. Some may say that they lost it a lot earlier than that game. But this will be a hugely defining game for the top of the table. So I did not do my proper research, and I apologize. Do you have any idea if it's at City or at the Emirates?
That's City.
So that automatically favors City. And it seems like they're fully healthy as well.
This is one of those games where obviously circle on the calendar because of what happened last year. Obviously, the sort of the top of the table predictions. I fully expect to see Kyle Walker. I think that he's going to play. I actually think it came out while we were on the podcast. I saw somebody tweeting about the fact that the issue isn't as worse as they originally thought. It's like, of course it's not.
Yeah,
I don't blame these players whatsoever for leaving national team camp a little bit early, because this is that big of a fixture. I truthfully think it's going to come down to, can Arsenal do it away? I truthfully think over the whole of a season, I think Arsenal's been the better overall team, just in terms of the way they've played, just in terms of consistency. City have had to grind out more results this season than they have in years past. So to me, this is the pressure at 100% is on Arsenal. Even though City's at home, this is all of your players rested and came back early for this one. This is what you've been building for. You're fresh, you're healthy. You want to show the world that you're ready to go win a Premier League title. This is the prove it game. This is what you ask for as an Arsenal fan. And waiting for you as a Manchester City that's been here and done that. I think the only difference this year is Declan Rice.
Well, I mean, I was going to say it'll be interesting to see if he is able to go, because he might be unhealthy if he gets injured in this game. I think that's going to be something that'll be fascinating to see. But I know that we talked about it in, maybe it was last week, but also it's going to be a big game for Haaland to hopefully find his rescoring form, but he's been struggling in the last several games. He needs a big game to kind of relaunch himself back into the goal scoring conversation. But I don't know. What's your prediction? If you were to give a score line, what's your prediction?
I truthfully think that it's going to be like a 2-2.
Think so?
I think they're going to tie. I will say I guess the question for you is if either of these teams win, is it not obviously there's games left to play, but is this big enough to you where the winner's going to go on to win the title?
Arsenal, yes. City, no. And what I mean by that is if Arsenal go on to win this game, I think that for them shows that they can do it. In City, I mean, it's not like City's anyone's bogey team, City is City. But last year, you just saw a complete gap in quality, a complete gap in quality between those two teams. And I think that if Arsenal can go on and do it, that's going to give them every bit of momentum that they need and every bit of belief that they can go and do it. I think City winning against Arsenal doesn't do the same thing for the psyche that Arsenal beating City does. I'm
in agreement with you. I think this is Arsenal season. Obviously the Champions League, but this game is Arsenal season in the Prem. And I think for all the reasons that you stated, but for the psyche, we beat City. They're arguably going to be top of the table if they do that.
Yep.
And then it's theirs to lose. It's can they be consistent throughout the way out? But I do think you're right. For City, if City does win, I don't know. It's just kind of another win for them. It doesn't mean as much. Obviously, it means a ton in the table, but it's kind of just City being City.
Just is City being City. Yeah. I'm gonna go a 2-0 win for City. And that's no banter. That's just what I think is gonna happen. I think that fucking Arsenal fans are going to come on and talk about how they played well, they kept or like they had good, passages of play and whatever, but I just don't think that they're quite there yet. And those City guys, man, they're gamers. And then I'll double down. I think that Arsenal is going to lose this game, and then they're going to crash out of the Champions League this round as well. So I think it's going to be a double.
Wow.
A double negative, yeah.
I will say that the down thing, and I guarantee you it's going to be him, is Kai Havertz is going to have to be Kai Havertz from Champions League final, Kai Havertz. Because I think he's going to be that 9 against arguably 2 of the best center backs in the world, most likely, against a team where City tends to let the other team have the ball a little bit, especially like Arsenal. We've seen him do it a ton. So there's going to be those buildups, and obviously, what tends to happen in the way to sort of beat City is take them wide and try to get services in, and it's going to come down to, do they have that guy in the box?
Yeah, do they have it?
Can Kai Havertz be that guy?
I mean, he's coming off of an international break with at least 1 goal. They have 1 more game before they return to Arsenal camp, but you never know. Only time will tell, and next week's episode is certainly going to be spicy. We'll see if we can get more than 3 people to show up for it. But as always, Connor, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure talking. And for our listeners who stayed with us this long, shout out to you all. This episode comes out Tuesday morning. Be sure to check us on all socials: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Give us a like and comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really helps a lot. And with that being said, cheers, fella.
Cheers, brother.